Albert Breer here on the Rich Eisen Show. Give me a surprise that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Give me a good one. Give me a good one.
I think, well, it wouldn't be a surprise if Gruden brought in competition for Derek Carr, would it? That doesn't count as one. I could give you, like...
It depends on who that is. Who's the competition?
If Ryan Tannehill gets out of Tennessee because Tom Brady lands there, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Tannehill goes to Oakland, maybe even as the replacement for Derek Carr. So that would be one. I think the Jameis, Bucs situation's gone sideways because Jameis wanted a lot of money and the Bucs were turned off by that. Rivers with the Colts is something that's been discussed a lot. Something that would be surprising. Here's one. Don't be surprised if at running back, if Kenyon Drake, who was traded in midseason for basically nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Kenyon Drake gets more than Melvin Gordon, how's that?
On the free agent market.
On the free agent market. I wish I had something better for you. That's kind of lame.
No, it's not at all. No. Look, Albert, I'm asking you to make some sort of prediction or no. That wouldn't be too. That would be somewhat surprising. What are we hearing about Gordon? Where he might wind up? What do you think on that? That's under the radar.
His market's a little tougher because, like I said, like Kenyon Drake's somebody who brings value in the passing game. He's more of a 21st century back. Gordon's like an older school back, and so his market is going to be like, does Derrick Henry leave Tennessee? Could he be a replacement in that sort of system? I think it's going to wind up being something like that. And I would tell you this, like I think and you were just at the combine, so you saw all these kids up close. One thing I have heard is that it might be hard for some receivers and running backs to get paid.
Oh, period.
Because the draft class at both of those positions are really, really good. Like
no question.
Receiver, if you're one of these teams, are you going to go pay Amari Cooper $18 million, or are you going to draft one in the second round who may be able to start for you and make less than $2 million?
How about this? How about this, Albert? We could sit here and say that no free agent running back and no free agent wide receiver will make more next year than Tony Romo.
I like that. There you go.
I think that's entirely possible.
Tony Romo's making almost as much as he did as a player, which is crazy.
It is nuts. It in terms of an announcer making more as an announcer than he is as a player, and we're talking about an NFL quarterback on top of all of it. But yeah, I mean, seeing the wide receiver.
Hey, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's a media guy now, though, so that's good for all of us, right? Rising tides lift all boats.
Yeah, that's the theory. Let's see it put into practice, brother. We'll see how that works. Okay, and before I let you go, what is the latest on the collective bargaining agreement? You and I spent many a day on NFL Network together. Me in the Los Angeles Total Access studio, you on a Washington, D.C. or New York City street corner live. That was 10 years ago, for crying out loud, next year.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Yeah.
Time flies, Albert, when we have labor peace.
Yeah.
So the question is what's happening here? Because it does factor into tags, and it does factor into whether there's more or less pie for Dak and other players as well. What do you have for me on that front?
God, me and you did full shows. Oh. I like right now the NFL and NFLPA lawyers, the lawyers for both sides are meeting and they're putting together the language for what's going to be a 300-page document. Within a few days, I think, hopefully by the end of the week, maybe early next week, that document will go out to players, and then they're going to give the players some time to digest it. Then after that, the players are going to vote on it. And, we're sort of in a key stretch here because the NFLPA's rep meetings are next week. The 8th to the 11th in Miami, and they're going to be electing a new president. So if this thing doesn't go through, we could have a pretty major problem in our hands because then the players are going to be sitting there and they're going to say to themselves, well, what do we have to prepare ourselves for? We have to prepare ourselves for the possibility there's going to be a lockout in 2021. And so at that point, you would think that they would elect a president who would probably be a little bit more of a fighter, which, I mean, of course, could change the dynamic of the whole thing altogether. And so we're in a critical stage here. The feeling I get, Rich, is that the union and the league, both sides, like, really feel like they put together a strong deal. But certainly there's some dissension in the ranks of the players. And it'll be interesting to see if the rank and file vote against this, because one of the key parts of the deal, the mandate of the NFLPA was go take care of the average player. Well, the average player in the NFL makes the minimum, and about half of the membership, maybe even more than half of the membership, is on the minimum, and those guys would each get an immediate $100,000 raise with this. And so I just, even if, the executive committee and the player reps are against this, it's very hard for me to see where so many guys in the minimum being basically offered a six-figure raise right away would vote no.
So which will we know about first? The CBA is accepted or rejected, or Tom Brady's contractual status?
I think we'll probably, so it'll be March 16th is a tampering period. March 18th is the beginning of free agency.
Yes.
Yeah. If the CBA is still in flux at that point, I would think that they would push back the beginning of the league year. So we'll say CBA first. That's what happened in 2006, by the way, you may remember. I believe they pushed back the start of the league year a day or two to accommodate the completion of CBA. So if the CBA is not done by the beginning of the league year, I think they push it back a day or two.
Well, that gives more time for the Brady decision, because the new league year is kind of the witching hour.
That's more oxygen for everybody to discuss this thing and speculate on this thing. And yeah. March 18th can't get here fast enough, Rich. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, it's right around the corner, brother.